Hi there, my name is Mrs. Jenkins. I wanted to look with you today at solving quadratic equations. Now there's three different methods we can use for solving a quadratic equation. I'm going to mention the three of them, but we're just going to focus on one. The first method that can be used is a common method and it always works. It's the quadratic formula. You'll take your equation and set it equal to 0. Then the coefficients of x squared, x, and your constant are represented by the variables a, b, and c. And those are plugged into the quadratic formula. And you can see the formula there. Now that's the first way to solve a quadratic equation. The second way is by a method called completing the square. You may have heard of that, and we won't go into detail here. But the third method is by factoring, and that's the one that I want to focus on. Now when you're factoring, you need to follow these steps. First of all, you want to set the equation equal to 0, just like you would do if you were working with the quadratic formula. Then you're going to factor the polynomial that you have remaining. When you have it factored, you'll set each factor equal to 0 and then solve for the variable. One thing about factoring is it's not a difficult process if you understand factoring. It's not difficult to do. But if a quadratic equation cannot be factored, then you would have to use the quadratic formula. Let's take a look and use the method of factoring in our example. In this first example here, we want to start by setting it equal to 0, which means we need to subtract 14 from both sides. When we do, we'll have an equation that looks like this. Then we want to focus here on the left side, and we want to factor that. When we factored this trinomial that we have here, we're going to get x plus 7, x minus 2. Then we'll take each of these two factors, x plus 7 and x minus 2, and we'll separately set each of those equal to 0 and then solve for x. In this first case, x equals negative 7. On the other side, when we add 2, we get an answer of 2. So x can be negative 7 or x can be 2. Set it equal to 0, factor it, and then set each factor equal to 0. Now I want you to do that in this last example. I'll let you know the first step is already done. It's set equal to 0 already, so you can go ahead then and factor it and set each factor equal to 0. Take a minute to work through that. Then when you're ready to check back in, just click continue. When we factor our trinomial here, we get 2x plus 1 times x minus 4. Set each of those separate factors equal to 0 and then solve for the variable. When we set this factor equal to 0, we'll get that x equals negative 1/2. On the other side, x minus 4 is our second factor, and when we set that equal to 0, we get that x is equal to 4. So two different values for x here, and I hope those are the two values you got as well. Good work on those problems, but if you need any more help with your algebra homework or in working with quadratic equations, you should sign up for Nutshell Math, and I'll see you there.